All right, chat. You guys sent me this video on Discord. We're gonna watch it now. The link will be in the description if you want to watch the original. Make sure you guys come and give him some love and like the video as well. This is gonna be a pretty fun one, I think, because it's about Sweet Baby Inc. and all their drama and how they're like. Remember when they first told us like, "Oh, you guys are just a-holes for pointing this stuff out." Now they're like, I guess, admitting a lot of their failures. And yeah, let's check it out.
I don't need to remind you who Sweet Baby Inc. is, you already know who they are, but the ongoing battle against their image in the games industry has been something that has grown over time. They messed up a lot of games, which they claim they haven't at times, but now it turns out that Kim Belair, that's the co-founder of Sweet Baby Inc., kinda just told the truth recently about the matter that, actually, yes, they do in fact do exactly what you think they do. And I'll tie this not only to the Sweet Baby stuff, but Halo as well, but this comes from DEIDetected.com and it's titled, Kim Belair confirms what gamers always suspected, addresses the Sweet Baby Inc. backlash. This was written by the Writing Raven. As you can see there on the right, she's half of Gothic Therapy alongside Master of the TDS. They've been exposing Sweet Baby Inc. for a really long time now, so all credit goes to them for what has been found here. But Kim was in a talk about games and how they're made at an event called Game Changers 2025. That name, Game Changers, probably sounds familiar if you saw the Game Awards last year as well. You might also remember this guy who won that very first award.
Oh, we remember this guy. Remember that was such an awkward thing last year when that happened. That dude's on there talking while everybody's getting fired. It was like one of the funniest things last year. And you know what's funny too? I played Spider-Man 1 and I thought it was a great game. Like there was that one ridiculous part where you have to play as Mary Jane and I was like, why do I have to do this? But I've never played Spider-Man 2 yet. It's like on like my backlog of games to play. But a lot of you say that it like is not that good because there's a lot of like DI in there. It's like more Mary Jane in there. It's like, dude, how do they ruin such a like the first one was so good. So this whole situation is just like nutty to me.
For the Game Changers at the Game Awards last year. That's Amir Sadvat, that's this guy on screen right now. Amir was paraded at the Game Awards as this savior of game jobs in the industry, but after he won his award, it was clear that something was amiss. Turns out Amir, as seen here, is actually kind of a big wig at Tencent, you know, the Chinese mecha company that recently bought up Ubisoft pretty much, and then turned it into Vantage Studios to name just one thing they did amongst many, many other things. But YouTuber Moriarty, as seen here, made a post about Amir and Game Changers right after he won that award last year. I promise this will all tie back to Sweet Baby Inc., but it's very important to understand exactly how all of this ties together and why it feels so disingenuous. Anyway, the Game Awards outright refused for a long time to acknowledge the layoffs that were in the industry, oftentimes ignoring it completely as thousands of developers would get laid off making games that pushed ideology or just typical corporate nonsense, like bigwig millionaires sacrificing their talent to keep their jobs. I need to tell you that the regular developers that got thrown to the wayside all the time were having that done to them to save the people at the very top who fed on the actual profits of these games that are being made. Take your pick. Electronic Arts, Microsoft, Sony, doesn't really matter. They've all done this. It's a big problem, I know, besides the obvious
They just follow the fads of the time, guys. Like all these companies, they really like if you're part of the group of people that like were happy that they were an ally to you, that's not real. They don't care about you. They don't care about any of that stuff. As soon as it becomes less profitable, they throw it away. Like this whole like DEI push and all that stuff, it's starting to slowly fade away. That mantra, go woke, go broke, is starting to actually happen. So once that happens more and more, you're gonna see that these people don't care about gay rights. They don't care about like all this stuff that they say they care about. They don't care about being an ally. All they care about is money. And if you were like dumb enough to fall into it, I'm sorry that you believe that they care, like, but it's just so obvious that they just want to push these, get on like these bandwagons to push these narratives because they want to make money. And for a short period of time, people were backing up these people, were pushing these categories. They're backing up with money, so they're getting funded. So their games, even if the games were going downhill, they were getting money from it from outside benefactors like BlackRock and stuff. They were putting money into these all these things, and they stated everywhere they've been giving money to all these companies to try to push for DEI stuff. But now, since the money is starting to fade away, they're gonna be throwing everybody under the bus to save a buck. So like, really, don't ever fall for this thing again, man. It is such a terrible thing to play on people's emotions and like attack like something that they truly care about, but they really just like played all of you. Like they just played everybody. And all it did was destroy our games. And now we're at a point where gaming is slowly gonna start recovering, but it's gonna take years to get back to where gaming was at its peak, dude. It's such a terrible thing.
Logical problem that is in games right now. The other equally, if not bigger, problem is just the gross mismanaging and over monetization of video games in general that has crippled games for a really long time. So, Amir Sadvad was chosen as the Game Changer recipient for a reason. He was effectively a propaganda piece put in place by corporate higher ups in order to, well, I guess you could say, clean their image. They even shared, as seen here, that Amir made spreadsheets about layoffs and the effects. Wow, a whole spreadsheet. What a guy. But credit where it's due, Amir did help developers get new jobs to a degree, and that is a good thing that should be celebrated. He also allowed them all to pool their info into these spreadsheets as seen here as well too. So Game Changers, which is interviewing Kim Belair here by the way, is supported by the same sort of thing. I think the way that Moriarty put it back in December 2024 is perfect. He said this about Amir Sadvat and Game Changers as a group, which reads as follows. They brought this man up on stage and said he made a spreadsheet when no one else could do anything. They paraded him in front of the people who literally fired everyone. It's a room of the people who fired the people you say you're helping. They awarded you for it. Yeah, it's kind of tone deaf. It's like
That was like the funniest thing. We streamed this. We were streaming this live when it happened, dude. It was like the funniest thing ever. You see this guy getting an award, and everyone in the crowd is like, "I don't have a job." It's like so stupid.
if the mob bosses put up their own guy in front of City Hall and said, this is the guy who will speak for us. Oh, great. You mean the guy who works for the same guys who fired everyone in the first place? Well, that's kind of weird. And then you gave him specifically an award for this? Yeah, that doesn't feel artificial at all. But Moriarty said more. A large chunk of audience is people who chose to lay off people a month after Christmas. They're planning to lay off people right now. They're going to do it next month. They gave you an award for providing volunteer services to their McKinseyan sacrifices. They clapped for you. The whole thing is just kind of weird, honestly. But as Moriarty then points out here too, that Amir Sadvad of Game Changers also worked at Amazon Studio of all places. The very same Amazon that just recently laid off thousands of their
I just can't get over how funny that whole situation was, dude. Like, just thinking back on it, I just can't stop laughing at how stupid that was.
staff, which affected places like even Twitch. As seen here from the CBC recently, Amazon laid off roughly 14,000 employees for, get this, AI instead. So again, there's your context before we even get into the sweet baby stuff. That this Game Changer event that works with the industry supposedly is also interviewing Kim Belair here and labeling her as a victim of cancel culture and misinformation. And now that you know what Game Changers actually is and how they're basically kind of a mafia goon LARPing as an industry friend, we can now get into what Kim Belair said, because now that you know this, it's going to recontextualize everything. So this Game Changer interview was about an hour long. Don't worry, I won't make you sit through all of it. However, I will say at one point, the interviewer actually mispronounces Alan Wake 2 as Alan Waker, so
Cool.
that was an interesting mistake that was left in. But anyways, Writing Raven of Gothic Therapy condenses what Kim Belair said in this interview to make it more digestible, which reads as follows. Belair describes Sweet Baby Inc.'s direct involvement in Spider-Man 2 over roughly 3 years, focusing on the storylines for Kraven and Harry Osborn, and said that her team helped shape the narrative beats and character work for Alan Wake 2. Taken together, these remarks contradict the company's long-standing public stance that it serves only as a consulting firm. I also exposed part of this already in the past, and before I get into this, hey, Remedy Entertainment, in case anyone there's watching this, don't try to copyright this video the same way you tried with my other video where I talked about you guys either. Because you did try to copyright me when I brought this up last time, and funnily enough, they then tried to copyright the footage in that video showing Alan Wake 2, which was taken from a legal copy of the game that I bought myself and recorded myself, by the way, and I put it in the video by myself. And to prove that, so nobody can say that I'm lying somehow, here as you can see, I made a post about this in November 2024, where very specifically, as you can further
Dude, that's dirty, man. That's doing him dirty. That is so messed up that would do stuff like that. You know, when companies do this, you think they have a PR team and say, "Hey, man, you know, you might like feel like you're winning the quick little battle there, but overall, it's gonna hurt your reputation more." Like the whole Power World lawsuit. Like, hey guys, let's just pause for a minute. This might be bad on the reputation, you know. Like this is just scummy, dude.
see here, the Old Gods of Asgard, that's the band that plays in Alan Wake 1 and 2. They actually tried to copyright my video when I was specifically exposing Remedy for using Sweet Baby Inc.'s influence to race swap characters like Saga Anderson, proving that people like Kim Belair had a lot more influence than they were going on with. And by the way, I didn't even use the music of in the video either from the game, just actual gameplay. Sorry, cutscene. Because Alan Wake has a lot of cutscenes, but they really did try this, and they lost, by the way, too, because that video is no longer copyrighted, by the way. But this is the kind of people who work with Sweet Baby. They try to use censorship to block people from knowing the truth. I mean, by the way, look at Remedy right now. They lost a lot of money on their quarterly earnings. Gee, I wonder why. But here's an actual excerpt from a conversation with the director of Alan Wake 2, where they had spoke specifically about Kim Belair's involvement with Alan Wake 2's story and characters, and this comes from GameDeveloper.com. As you can see, some will try to play defense for Kim Belair, saying she did not race swap or cause the race swap of Saga Anderson in Alan Wake 2, despite the fact that as seen here in Quantum Break, where Saga Anderson also shows up, by the way, that Saga standing here, as you can see, looks absolutely nothing like Saga Anderson in Alan Wake.
Like, can you notice the difference? Can you? I know it's hard, but can you notice the difference?
Wake 2. So let's not play dumb here. All of Remedy's games are interconnected to some degree too. So again, let's not play dumb. But it was wild to see Kim Belair finally admitting that yes, she and her team definitely did in fact have tangible effect and power over the very games that they were consulting on, because they absolutely did. Look at Spider-Man 2018 versus Spider-Man 2. They couldn't have made it more obvious which of these two games Sweet Baby worked on. But seeing people run defense for them like Game Changers has with this article is beyond ridiculous, especially with that added context, by the way, as to who they really are and what their mission is and who funds them. But Kim does say at one...
See, Spider-Man 1 was actually like a really, really good game. I had a lot of fun with that, guys. Like, I really enjoyed it. Like I said earlier, the only thing was kind of like, to me was I didn't enjoy playing as Mary Jane, where I had to sneak around and stuff. I was like, this kind of stupid. But I guess they wanted to like integrate her into the story a little bit more. I think I saw an interview where they said they wanted to give her more of a part. She's very important to his life or whatever. But like, honestly, dude, it was like kind of lame. But that was the only lame part. The rest of the movie, the game was amazing. The gameplay was great. I had so much fun with it, dude. I felt like Spider-Man, and I was gonna get Spider-Man 2 at the time. And I remember seeing people like, oh, dude, they butcher the story and they make the whole thing about Miles Morales. And like, I guess like, yeah, I didn't play it, so maybe I'm wrong about this, but this is what I remember. And people were saying that the like Spider-Man just like was so weak and like such a bad character. He wasn't the actual like hero of the story, and they like focused more on Miles Morales, which is like not cool because, you know, it is a Spider-Man game and it's like Peter Parker, but like it kind of takes away from how cool Miles Morales is. It's like if you have to force somebody into the story, like if you have to keep telling people, hey, this guy's awesome, then they're not gonna think he's as awesome as maybe he is. So like, I don't know why they keep doing this, dude. It like really takes away from the authenticity of the characters. Like, look at Into the Spider-Verse and the other one, whatever they're called. They're so similar, the two names. Those two movies I love. I think they're like one of the best Spider-Man movies out there, except for, you know, the OG Tobey Maguire Spider-Mans, like the original ones. Like those are still, you know, even number 3 I like. At the time it sucked, you know, but I love it now going back and watch it. You know, those 3 movies are always going to be my favorite Spider-Mans, but Into the Spider-Verse, I prefer those movies way over the stupid Marvel ones. So, like, doing that right, like Miles Morales right in that movie, was, like, great. It makes him a great character, somebody you really enjoy to watch. But then when you're, like, getting force-fed to enjoy something, like, they try to make you like the character, like, not authentically, it really does take away from the character's, like, likability, dude. And it's like this... It's just a disservice to the whole story and to the character.
Point during the interview, which is this: there are thousands of videos about us, but of those people, no one has written to us to say, hey, can I just ask a couple of questions about how this works? And that's patently false, Kim, too, when you know that, because Master of the TDS and even like Smash JT have tried reaching out to you multiple times for interviews or just emails alone. TDS, for example, literally showed the email he sent you guys just last week on his own live stream. You can't claim that people don't want to talk to you when it's anything but. I think content creators would actually love to talk to you. I just don't think you want to talk to them, because if you do, the tsunami of common sense will be probably suffocating. And if you want more non-BS content on games, consider liking the...
Well, if they talk to the content creators, they can't play this game of ignorance. Like, oh, we didn't know, or we did it because of this, X, Y, and Z. Like, I'm telling you, if they would have talked to anybody about this game before it released, everybody would have said this is like a real video game, like real gamer would have been like, this is shit. Like, what are you doing? And if they would have talked to them, they would not have been able to release this thing. So it is like kind of makes sense they don't want to talk to anybody because they don't want to be called out and have to take accountability. It's accountability, right?
video, subscribing, and leaving a comment. Thank you. But Kim also claims that gaming is a battlefield right now, which, yeah, I agree. Go look at what's happening with Halo right now to see what I mean as well. But she says that developers should instead fight for their baby, as she puts it. Here's that part here, by the way, where she says that devs should fight for their ideas even if they don't make the money, which is a wild take to have, especially since, again, she's being interviewed by literally game changers of all people, which was made by the very industry types that frankly only care about money in the first place. So, a little tone deaf, but alrighty then. But this next part was really interesting from Kim Belair, where she talks on wokeness. Okay, here's what she said. When people fight against wokeness, what they're really doing is fighting against progressiveness, and in a way, fighting against themselves. Yep, I disagree with that one wholeheartedly, Kim. I don't recall ever thinking to myself, gee, I really want my Spider-Man games to just suck. Or what if there was a consulting company that could work on a Batman Arkham spin-off game where Batman gets shot in the face by Harley Quinn? Or I wish I could play a game called Alan.
That was like one of the dumbest things. I remember watching it, I was like, dude, don't do it. Don't do this. Don't have Harley shoot him. There he goes.
Wake 2, where Alan's no longer the main character and objectively has far less gameplay and screen time than Saga Anderson instead, who's now again race swapped randomly. Yeah, I don't think I ever once wanted any of those things at all, Kim, in my games, like not even a little bit. I do this YouTube thing to push back against these sort of things, and the amount of hate that I get online tells me I'm doing the right thing. I already know there's people who will publicly attack me but be nice in my DMs, but it is what it is. I'm not opposed to diversity in games. For crying out loud, Mass Effect and Dragon Age are some of my favorite games series of all time. Well, not Veilguard, but you get the point. So claiming that people don't want diversity is not really the issue here. It's like
I'm gonna say something that might not be popular. I feel like we've had diversity in video games ever since we've had video games. Like, it just wasn't forced. Like we've had diversity in TV and movies and video games through before they try to push this. Like, I'm telling you, it's like right after Obama got elected in the presidency, they try to reignite the race issues. So like they took the opportunity to say, hey, there's a black guy as a president. I bet they're gonna hate that, and then they just started pushing racism all over again. Because when I was growing up in the early 2000s, the late 2000s, no, the racism really wasn't that big. Like racism kind of stopped in the 90s, the 2000s, and started picking back up like late 2000s when Obama came into office. And after that, I would say there was more racism to like Muslims and stuff like that during the early 2000s. I would say like actual racism, I saw a lot of actual hate towards people who were Muslims and stuff like that. So I really, of course, there's always going to be a little bit of racism. Everybody has racism in them. Like if you get if you're driving and you get cut off by like insert any race, you're gonna say a negative thing about it, like a stereotype. Like everybody has a little bit in them, but it's not. I don't really see it everywhere. Like it's very dramatic on the internet, but like in the real world, you don't really see it that often. My opinion.
Halo meme thing that happened recently, Let's talk about that for a bit now to make my point even further. The too long didn't read version, GameStop announced an end to the console wars, then they made memes of Master Chief, the White House jumped in, made their own memes of Trump and Chief, shaking hands and more. It made a lot of people really angry, and my previous video covers a lot of that too already, but there were a lot of people getting mad that Halo was being used by the conservative government to make jokes or make a political statement. Interestingly so, none of these people, for example, said much of anything when other franchises were also being used to push agendas either. One that comes to mind actually is Marvel Comics. Remember back in the COVID era when the whole vaccine thing was a really big topic of discussion? Should you take it or not? If you don't, you're putting others at risk. I personally never took the vaccine, by the way, and no amount of bullying was going to make me ever take it either. But weirdly enough, places like Marvel use their comics to push this sort of slop to entice users to get their vaccine shots. As seen here, where two characters in their books talk about taking their vaccines. Or this really cringe-inducing image of an old man smiling kind of like a weirdo, showing you his bandage on his arm in an Avengers comic no less. Of course, the same people who claim that Halo is being used.
Is this real? Is this real? What the That's what? This is not real, is it? That's crazy. There's a shot. That's crazy, bro. By staying up to the day. Oh my. What? This is real. Dude, what comic is this from? This has to, like. I bet this, if you had this, like the original art of this is going to be worth money someday. This is absolutely crazy.
Political propaganda against left-leaning individuals were totally silent when Marvel used their IP to push actual bodily decisions upon their citizens. Yet they never really got outraged by that, did they? It's only really ever a problem if the thing disagrees with them after all in the end. You may have also noticed how whenever Halo added nonsense like pride colors, these same types of people never really batted an eye. Like, look at this rainbow armor in Halo. Why would Spartans ever wear this in that universe? They're genetically engineered warriors meant to protect humanity. It's just goofy. I know Spartans have colors to their armor like green or blue, but a rainbow, like a colorful rainbow, imagine actual Navy SEALs like in like our world. Unironically running into battle, just sticking out like sore thumbs looking like rainbows. Like, be serious. Or this guy named Potato McWhiskey who said this about the Halo memes, yeah, I'll never consider working with Microsoft on anything ever again, and I'll be citing this tweet unless they do something about it, and then this guy comes in with the Black History Month armor and Halo saying, easy there, buddy, we don't want Halo getting too political there, do we? I mean, the memes write themselves, but it is funny seeing these people.
It's just so, I'm telling you guys, it's just politics and everything. It's just ruined everything. Like, it's just a video game. Please, let me just be a Spartan and kill stuff. Like, please.
People get so angry over things when the politics are just not in their favor. Like, what happened, guys? I thought you guys liked politics in your games. Aren't you for these sorts of things? Oh, you're not now, because it's conservative now. Well, imagine how players then feel seeing stupid nonsense all of the time for the last few years.
You know what also sucks about this stuff, dude, is like the last video we watched about Halo, the last one by him, where he brings up religion and now like the conservative versus the gay pride stuff, like all that stuff. Now, whenever you play these games, like I stated in that video, I never saw religious allegory in this, and like now after I saw the video, okay, I see the religious allegory. But back then, I never like saw it when I was playing it, and I probably never would have seen it because I'm not looking for that, right? I'm just looking to be a Spartan doing some badass stuff. So now though, when you play these games, it's in the back of your mind. Oh, Trump, rainbow flags, religion. Now you're like, even if you like the next Halo comes out and it's like amazing, you have that now in your like back of your head in your psyche, and it's forever like tainted now because you can never like fully enjoy it because you know it's like a lot of people are angry about it for some stupid reason, either religion or gay pride stuff or Trump or this. It's like, dude, it's a fictional character. I just want to escape from the world and just dive in this game and bash some skulls. Can I do that?
Guys are feeling like 1% of what we, the players, have been going through for literal years, and the moment you get a little pushback, you clutch your pearls and cry. This is not the game industry I know and love. This is like a bunch of hypocrites that are masquerading as caring about games when they don't. I wouldn't even be surprised if Sweet Baby to some degree worked on those Halo skins or something with Microsoft there, because none of that would really surprise me at all. I saw people also asking me to respond to Jamie Greisemer on Twitter because he was making fun of the game outlets who were mad about the Trump meme stuff. So I talked about him in my other video, but he did respond to me between this, so now I can properly address this in a new video because the other video was done already, my bad. So when Halo came out, it was in 2001 amidst 9/11, and it was, well, a volatile time, all right. Anyways, I retweeted Jamie with his response, but he added more context, which reads as follows. No, I was not talking about the symbolism of the games. I was talking about the unfortunate context into which the first game was released. The Covenant were not a historic or religious allegory. And it's good that he added more context here because this now means that the personification of Halo as a franchise will hopefully now not be weaponized further by either side of the argument. It's obvious that Halo has inspirations from conservative-minded values or Christianity. As I said in my previous video on Halo, it doesn't mean that everyone who worked on it was conservative, because of course not, that's not true. But what I also said in that video too is that it's likely that people who worked on Halo originally were in fact people who were more centrist, if you will, which is an ideology kind of lost today, let's be real. At least when it comes to being online, everyone wants you to either be left or right, when in actuality, I think most sensible people fall somewhere in the middle like usual. Jamie seems to be one of those guys.
And like, why do they want you to be on the left or the right? Because they want to be able to categorize you with everybody. So if like like me, I've told you in the last video, I get called Democrat by some people, I get called a Republican by some people. It really depends who I'm talking to, because some of my opinions lean more to the right, and some of my opinions lean more to the left. So like it depends on who I'm talking to at the time, which I'm gonna be put in a box. But they want to be able to put you in a box there so that you can say, well, you're just as bad as that person because he labels the same as you. They don't want you to be like in the middle and say, oh, I'm in the middle, because then they can't criticize you for the X, Y, and Z that this person did in that group. So that's why they want you in that group, so they could have an easy way to attack.
Again, while he confirms that the Covenant were not meant to be this religious
And that goes with both people, both groups.
allegory, he also made fun of the other side. I mean, the game journalists too. So obviously, games journals were mad about Halo, and this all ties to Sweet Baby, I promise. But Jamie responded to that as well and said this. But also, the left has been driven so insane that this tactic is going to work. I fully expect, actually, the Flood were the real heroes of Halo within the week. And he then said, the real Gravemind has never been tried, which is crazy to say, but I mean, come on, that is funny. But look, the point I'm making here is that Jamie is showing that in actuality, people like him working on Halo that aren't actually, either side of the aisle politically, which again, people like Jamie are kind of what game developers used to be like. Just developers. It wasn't about the agenda. And I agree with them that I do wish that games just stop pushing this sort of thing on either side, full stop. Many times on this channel, I've said that stuff like Helldivers 2 should never have pro-conservative symbolism, nor should it have liberal either. I don't want any MAGA helmets or rainbow capes, I just want Super Earth, because I hate to break it to people like Sweet Baby or the people hating on Halo memes, but these places, they are not the real world. They do not in fact need to represent the real world in any single way. Like, Halo is not our world.
We literally try to escape the world by playing these games. So like, why are we trying to put them in the real world? Like, are we stupid?
It's Halo, because I don't recall there being something called the Flood invading our Earth and our reality, or there being like 7-foot-tall supermarines driving jeeps with miniguns in space around here. The best we got is like people in Florida wrestling like gators, maybe. Our world is also not like how Sweet Baby Inc. per se presents the world of New York City in Spider-Man 2. If you really take Spider-Man 2 as a supposed representation of our real world, it's a bad one at that, not to mention our real world doesn't have superheroes clinging to walls and stuff, but that's beside the point. But firstly, none of the main characters in Spider-Man 1 or even 2 even have New York accents. At least Tom Holland in the movies does the accent when he plays Spider-Man. Secondly, everything in Insomniac's NYC just feels filtered, neutered, and stripped of any rough edges. Which, let's be real, is the complete opposite of what New York City is as a real place. Instead, they turn New York City in Spider-Man 2 specifically, with the help of Sweet Baby Inc., into a propaganda piece. There's rainbow stuff littered everywhere, but of course that rainbow stuff doesn't exist in the Middle Eastern version of Spider-Man 2, as seen here, by the way, which is true actually. That got shared like crazy, by the way, back in 2023. Even Reddit, as seen here, talked about it, and let's zoom in further so you can see more. So here you can see that Miles here in a Middle Eastern streamer's playthrough of the game, and the LGBT dialogue that should be there is just gone. And another picture from that guy's same stream shows that the LGBT flags that are present in Spider-Man 2 when bought in the West conveniently are removed in the Middle Eastern version of the game, which, let's be real,
That's interesting, isn't that? Isn't that really interesting? Why would they remove that stuff for a Middle Eastern? why, why would they release? This is actually too funny. Why would they release that for the Middle Eastern crowd? I wonder why. If it's so like nonchalant, right? It's the right thing to do. Like, it's like, if you're a good person, you believe this stuff, blah 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 blah, all the human rights, blah blah. Why don't they apply it to all the games? That's actually pretty freaking weird. It's because they don't care. They don't care about any of that shit. They just want money. Like, it, until the weird side of the internet realizes that, like, we could get back to just gaming for like real. Like, once you realize that them having gay pride stuff in the game is only to try to pander and try to sell more games, and they really don't give a crap, then maybe we could go back to being normal again. But this is actually like, this is crazy, and like so revealing, and I love it. I'm all about this. I love this.
That's not very inclusive of Insomniac nor Sweet Baby to do, and it shows how it's all just a performative dance for these people in the end. Because if you actually really cared about the representation you say, you wouldn't remove the very representation from your own game. But they did it because they wanted that Arab money, which I had to say, my bad, but you get the point. As DEIDetected.com says here in that first article that I referenced, Kim Belair believes that Sweet Baby did the best that they could, which I'm not denying that they tried, but the results across each game were, well, not very good. Spider-Man 2 sold half of 2018's. Alan Wake 2 has been limping on, barely turning a profit, not to mention the other game, FBC Firebreak, which is doing terribly as well from Remedy 2. And Kill the Justice League, for example, well, we know how that one turned out, didn't we? It was a live service game that's already technically offline, so that one didn't work either. But I think it's very interesting and frankly hilarious that Kim would openly admit that, hey, actually, all the things these people accuse us of are actually pretty on the money. Well, thanks, Kim. Nice of you to say that, but that isn't really going to be the win you think it is. And when it comes to things like Halo, I think we're finding out very quickly that a lot of people are mad when their favorite franchises are used for propaganda, which, yeah, I think anyone with common sense is against that too, no matter what side of the aisle. What's even funnier, however...
You guys ever wonder why the propaganda has been leaked into video games so much? Do you guys ever, like, sit back and think about that? Like, I wonder why propaganda is so ingrained in video games these days. It's because young men don't watch TV as often, and young men are becoming more right leaning in the like the Gen Zs and younger. So they've been trying to infiltrate where young men are, where they are, and that's video games. And that's why all these prominent manly characters in video games and manly games, they've been trying to slowly tweak them to do their propaganda, and it's just not working.
that a bunch of websites, like I said, made articles about how Bungie devs and whatnot are against these memes that the White House posted. Here's PC Gamer reporting on it, and Jamie, again, that lead gameplay developer on Halo, swooped in to say people just hear what they want to hear, which can be true of both sides, either conservative or liberal, and he's right about that. But a user would reply to Jamie on that PC article that apparently said they talked to all these Halo devs and says this. This is why it's not good to talk to news outlets. They spin everything, but Jamie would then say back, I did not. They just scraped through Twitter and to Tillo's Substack. Oh, so lovely then. So Jamie just confirmed that PC Gamer didn't even reach out to him then. They're just putting words in his mouth. Interesting. So the guy who thinks that both sides of the political aisle are insane and wants nothing to do with them is having his words weaponized by either side too. And I do apologize to Jamie if I misrepresented him in any way or the Covenant and all that. That wasn't my intention to do, but I doubt that PC Gamer will do the same for him. They will just instead ignore it and claim that he's against players because, well, it's games journalism. Look, there's a lot of problems out there, like I said, from gross over monetization and then some, but it can't be denied that this moronic push for politics or right in gaming is kind of annoying. And I am with Jamie in the sense that none of this stuff should be in games. Halo was made by people that were all over the political spectrum, and it was great. Halo now is made clearly by leftists, and wow, it failed not once but 3 times in a row. Remind me again why it's a bad idea to have only one kind of people making a game. Oh, they all say the same thing. Well, how about that? Sounds like Sweet Baby Inc., by the way, too. And to end this video, to show you how stupid this all is, Actman posted an excerpt from Jamie that he was against the ice meme, which yes, he didn't like that, and that is right. But what's funny and unexpected was seeing Marty O'Donnell in Actman's own comment section posting another thing that Jamie said, which reads, the Democrats in Congress refuse to cheer for a kid that beat cancer. You wouldn't celebrate the Israeli hostages being freed. You complain that the Butler assassin missed Trump's head and then called them effing loons. Jamie is something else, guys. But that's what I'm saying. Compare Jamie and how he has his hands rated E for everyone pretty much compared to someone like Kim Belair. You can't really compare these old head legacy devs to these seemingly newer ones, because the older
the problem is it's just everything has been infiltrated by these people, every industry. And like I said, there's big money pushing for this, so like these people are not even getting the jobs because they're the most qualified or whatever, or maybe the most interested. You know, there's so many, like, what's the last, like, I think the Star Wars, one of the Acolyte or something, I think she said she doesn't even like Star Wars or something like that, or she like never has been into Star Wars or something like that. Like, these people are not even fans of the products that they're doing. They're just trying to be, they're just there to do their propaganda, and we've just been infiltrated everywhere. And it's slowly but surely dying. So I'm so glad about this, man, because I just want good movies. I want some good games. I want to be able to just enjoy the things that I love without freaking every day being so stressful, man.
devs made great games that just stood on their merits alone and didn't alienate anyone because everyone loves Halo, or at least the older games, anyways, and didn't matter what side of the aisle you were on. Everyone loved Halo, and that proves the point. While Kim is being interviewed by Game Changers of all things and then claims that everything is woke and you're against it, that means you're against progress now. Like, the duality of game developers here is incredible.
During the culture wars, if you brought up like Halo, they'd always have to say like, mm, well, that's all you got. It's like, no, Xbox is better. No, PlayStation is better. We got Halo. Oh, yeah, that's all you got.
And I know that there are more devs like Jamie that are out there. I know because I talked to them privately. Hello, if you're watching this, by the way, I hope you're doing well. But these websites and slop like Game Changers are all ran by the same people. And I will continue to push back because we need to, guys. Otherwise, they're just going to make Master Chief wear whatever the next political hot propaganda topic thing ends up being in the future, too. If you ask me, if you just want everything to be better, just remove your politics from your games. Like all of it. Right, left, upside down. I don't care. Just remove all of it. Return games to how they were in the 90s and the early 2000s because they were objectively so much better and everyone could enjoy them. And no,
I said that. I literally said that. Oh my god, I'm so smart.
nobody was fighting about them. Besides, maybe, you know, this character's stats are better than this one, or this character's better in a fighting game than this one. Like real game stuff that, you know, is like fun to talk about, not just like this developer wants all white people gone, or this developer.
You know the thing about what he's saying, like we want to go back to like the old days, just make it good, blah blah blah. Those old games, like you could go back and play Street Fighter and enjoy it. You're not going to be able to go back and play a lot of these games that have had diversity, has had inclusion, race swapping, like the message, all that stuff. They're not going to be timeless because politics are always changing. So you're not going to like, you could go back and play a Pokemon from like Pokemon Yellow and there's no issues, right? You could always go play it. But when you have like the new DEI Pokemon coming out, supposedly in Gen 10, like you're going to have things in there that will always be in there forever and they will not be timeless. So there's going to be stuff that are locked to specific regions in history, and you're going to be stuck with that. Unlike these games that are from the 90s, like go play Ratchet and Clank. There's no issues with there. There's not going to be any diversity BS there. You can have fun with that if you're from this time period, if your kids in 20 years play it. But if you go play the suicide crap that we just saw, nobody's going to want to play that. If you have Master Chief in a rainbow costume, right? Somebody's gonna be like, dude, that's kind of lame. But you play the original one, nobody's thinking that. So they're really just destroying the brands, and not just now, the longevity of the brands.
Hates everyone who is in this skin color. Like nonsense like that is just annoying, dude. But enough of this if you ask me. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think. Subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.
All right, guys, so that's the video. So make sure you guys go and follow him as well. Go to his original content, like and subscribe it. And make sure you guys also like and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more reactions, more commentary, more video game news, original content, and just culture drama, stuff like that. But this was a very informative video, very important video for gamers because, you know, gamers, we're kind of like the people you could blame for this because at the past, like when people were trying to get into the space, we should have probably like gate kept more, but we were so open and so willing to have people join us. And people forget, like gamers were the nerds of the past. Like we were the nerds, the rejects. Like this wasn't something that was cool to be a part of. Like there was definitely less people who were considered gamers and nerds because it wasn't monetized and it wasn't like a popular fad that people are doing. Like nowadays, like everybody wants to be a YouTuber who plays video games. Everybody loves video games now. And it's like we let them all in because we're like, we don't care. Yeah, come on in. Oh, you want to make the main character a freaking black guy now? That's fine, whatever, I guess. The game's still staying the same, right? Okay, cool. You're gonna add more chicks in the game? That's cool, I guess. Whatever, no biggie. And we just like we're so accepting and so loving. And eventually, they just took every like inch they could take from us, and then eventually they just took a mile. Man, they just destroyed the whole industry. And like I said, dude, this is not something that used to be a popular thing. And definitely there was not that many girls in this category. Like, you know, all of us gamer guys, there's all of us who are watching this right now that are guys. One time or not, went, please God, give me a gamer girlfriend. Like we wanted gamer chicks to, like for like more than anything, man. We wanted to have a girlfriend that played games, and some of us got lucky and some of us didn't. I never got lucky. I always had girls that think that was like the video games were lame and I was stupid for playing them. But like we always wanted girls to be in the space. But now, like again, with even with the women in the space, there you see like 10 women playing video games on Twitch. 8 of them have like a LinkedIn, and then you go or their link tree. You go to that link tree, they're always gonna have one of those freaking apps, or one of those those sites. I'm so tired of going on like Instagram or Threads and seeing like, hey, look at my Pokemon collection, and then you see like a link tree, and you're like, oh. You click on it, and of course, that freaking site is there every time, dude. Like, I'm so tired of girls trying to use this to get it, and it really like hurts the actual girl gamers out there, dude. Because I feel bad for them too, because they're like, oh, I'm not like that, but like, there's such a stigma about it now. But like, gaming used to be for the nerds. Like, I'll tell you this one story. This one time, so I was a guild leader, right? So I was playing World of Warcraft. But I was also a football player. So these guys in football was like, hey, dude, why are you guys late to practice? And they're like, oh, we were making fun of these nerds who play World of Warcraft, man. And me being a freaking weasel, I was like, oh, yeah, that's lame. What losers. But in reality, after practice, I had to race home. Why? Because I was the raid leader. I was the guild leader. We had to get raid ready and get going, bro. So I had to get there as fast as I could so I could raid. So like everybody in my family knew I was a nerd, and I was a closet nerd at school. And like the only people who really knew were like the girls I've dated, because I'd be like, hey babe, I know we're supposed to go to the movies tonight, but we have an emergency raid. I'd be like, what's an emergency raid? So Friday, we were supposed to get down the last 3 bosses, but we only got 2. It wasn't an efficient raiding night. It was just not our best night. Not our best night. I go into details about it. Big Tanks, he was on his game, man. So we're going back into the night to finish it up. And if we don't finish it, we don't get all the gear and it resets. It's just, we have to. And she's like, are you serious? So like they knew about it, but like everybody else, I was a closet nerd, dude. That's how bad it was. You would keep that shit on the down low. But now everybody's part of it. Everybody wants to be in it. And that's, I think, what led to a lot of these problems, man. Everybody's just in this, and it's just, we should have kept those gates a little sealed, bro. But that's just my little story for you guys of my WoW days back in the day. But it's just so terrible to see like the gaming industry has gone down so bad and so low. But there is hope, because we do have the silver lining that motto, go woke or go broke, is happening. So a lot of people are starting to ditch the woke stuff. So I predict maybe 5 years from now, 5 years, it'll be back to normal. But it's going to be a slow process, But I have faith. That gaming's going to get back to normal and be a lot better. So, all right, guys, that's enough rambling for me. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. I'll see you for the next one.